Hey everybody, welcome to GMG Review. Today we're taking a look at the BROOD Brothers data cards for Kill Team 2024, the new edition of Kill Team, basically, that's on pre-order today in the Kill Team Hivestorm box set. Now these are legacy Kill Teams that were out in the last season of Kill Team, the Beta-Decima season, and are representative of a Gene Stealer cult. I really like these miniatures. Actually, Chris from Lords of War Games and Hobbies has painted these up. I gave him the ones from my box. We split the box set, and yeah, and they look fantastic. So you're gonna see them up really soon on the channel. And these, like sort of structurally, they're a lot like the Blooded Kill Team in that they work around having a core of like their kind of guardsman equivalent, which is the BROOD Brothers themselves, and then you've got some specials that you can take in the form of the cool Psychic Familiars, Magus, Patriarch, and Primus model. Which I think is the Kill Team, was it Kill Team Override? What was the, I think it was the Kill Team Override box set. There was a board game that these featured in originally, and they've since become like a staple of the Gene Stealer cult kind of like model line. So we got a Kill Team BROOD Brother Commander. He's our leader for this operative. And in the, what's it called? The approved ops format, these guys have access to infiltration and security. It's pretty similar to the last edition's rules. Now, he can have a bolt pistol and chainsword and claw, a drum fit autogun and bayonet, or a last pistol power weapon and claw. The power weapon and claw is probably the one you're going to take. And then you get 9 BROOD Brothers from the following. So an agitator, gunner, there's like a variety of different gunner types. You can take 3 different types of gunners or snipers. So typically you're going to have 2 of the gunners, 1 of the snipers, in a mix of either flamer, grenade launcher, melta gun, or plasma gun. So you get, like you said, your sniper as well. So that's going to be a total of 4 specialists so far. Then the Icon Ward, Knife Fighter, Medic, Sapper, Veteran, and Vox Operator, meaning that you do not get any troopers in this. Typically, a lot like the Blooded, everybody's a specialist in this group. And then you get 3 other operatives from the following. Either 2 Psychic Familiars that count as a single selection, a Magus that counts as 2 selections, a Patriarch that counts as 3 selections, a Primus that counts as 2 selections, or Troopers. So typically, you're not actually using all the miniatures in this collection. The Patriarch is a giant, insane kill piece. The Magus, you're going to usually take with the Psychic Familiars, and then the Primus, if you take them, you're going to take a Trooper to go with them, which makes it hard to take the Primus, because taking the Primus, you'd need to have an additional Trooper miniature, but you've already used them all to get this done. So yeah, it's interesting. Other than Trooper operatives, your kill team can't take anybody more than once, can't take more than 3 gunners. Your kill team can include up to 1 brood cover operative. If one of these operatives is selected for deployment, your commander operative loses the leader keyword for the battle. So if you take the Primus, then this guy, I believe, goes away. Where's the 2? Oh, the Magus, Patriarch, and Primus all count as being the leader, the brood cover operative. Up to 3 times. Instead of selecting one of these operatives, you can select 1 BROOD Brother play to cost 0 CPs for the battle. This counts as selection will only apply. If you select a Patriarch operative, you could not do this. So if you take one of the guys marked 3, which is here, up to 3 times instead of selecting one of these operatives. Oh, so if you take the Primus and don't take a Trooper, you can do a 0 CP thing instead. So that's how they've covered the fact that you won't have the models necessarily for doing it, is that if you take the Primus and you can't take another Trooper model because you've already used all 10 for the core kill team, you can do a 0 CP ploy. So then your faction rules. All right, so Crossfire. Whenever a friendly BROOD Brother operative is shooting against or fighting against an enemy operative, after resolving all of your attack dice, if that enemy operative isn't incapacitated, it gains a Crossfire token. So you basically distracted it. Whenever a friendly BROOD Brother operative is shooting against, fighting against, or attacking against an enemy model that has a Firefight token, you can remove any of these. For each of these that you do so, you reroll 1 of your attack dice. So every time someone's fighting somebody, you mark them and then have somebody else fight them. It just means you want a 1-2 every model, or 1-2 someone who is like fighting you in melee, and that way you can go back and forth and gain these little rerolls. It's a really simple rule. It sounds complicated, but once you start doing it, it's because you have such a high number count as a kill team, it makes it easier for you to gang up on people. All right, our round-based ones, strategic ploys. Pervasive. During each of your friendly BROOD Brothers activations, you can ignore the first vertical distance of 2 inches during 1 move climb. You got crab hands. So you basically climb up for 2 less whenever you climb something. Uprising. The first time each friendly BROOD Brother operative performs either the shoot or fight action during each of its activations, if the order was changed from conceal to engage at the start of it, the enemy operative selected as the valid target or to fight against gains a Crossfire token as soon as it's selected. So like when you come out of conceal against somebody, and you attack them, put the crossfire token to spend, or you can not spend it and have somebody else spend it later on. But it means that probably you're going to use this during the first turning point, and it's going to load models up with crossfire tokens as you like jump out and pick at them. Embedded, whenever an enemy operative is shooting a friendly Brood Brother operative, if you retain any cover saves as a result of heavy terrain, get an additional 1, so you get 2 instead of 1. And then Cult Devotion, whenever a friendly Brood Brother operative, excluding the Patriarch, is incapacitated when fighting or shooting, fighting or retaliating, if you have any unresolved attack dice, roll a d6. And if the result is a success, as if it was a roll attack dice stuck with your weapon, you can strike the enemy within that sequence with one of your unresolved successes, or any of your successes if the d6 was a crit. In any case, that friendly operative is then removed from the kill zone. So you can kind of like strike back as you're dying. It's the Lurtz thing where you pull yourself down the sword. That's a Lord of the Rings reference. It's weird that I'm making 24-year-old references now when I reference Lord of the Rings. So some of you guys watching will have no idea what I'm talking about because you might not have been born. We're going to do Firefight ploys. So Ruthless Coordination. Uses fire. These are your during the turn ones that you can kind of do at will. Uses Firefight ploy when selecting a valid target for a friendly Brood Brother operative until the end of the action. Determine visibility is normal, but you can determine intervening cover from another friendly Brood Brother operative that both the friendly operative and the potential valid target are visible to, but that isn't visible. So note that a friendly operative doesn't get any additional benefits of vantage terrain if the other friendly operative is on like vantage terrain, so you're not going to get like plunging fire and stuff like that. And then we continue to the other side. So visible and no intervening terrain, visible intervening terrain. So basically you're shooting, but this guy is where you draw line of sight from, so he won't get his cover bonuses and stuff like that. You're calling it in. Unquestioning loyalty. Use this Firefight ploy when a friendly Brood Brother leader operative is selected as the valid target of a shoot action or fight action. Select one friendly Brood Brother Brood Guard operative, excluding the leader. And so Brood Guard would be people like the commander, the agitator, anybody who's not from the Patriarch, Magus, and I think it's the Primus, wherever the Primus list is. Those guys don't have it. It's little guys jumping in front of big guys. They become the valid target instead. Even if they wouldn't, so if they're within 3, even if they're not engaged. If it's a fight action, treat the operative as being inside the control range for the duration of the action. This ploy is not affected if the shoot action and range weapon has the blast or torrent weapon rule. So if you're a secondary target for one of those things, you can't jump in front with unquestioning loyalty. Idolization uses Firefight ploy when a friendly Brood Brother operative, excluding the leader, within 6 of a friendly Brood Brother leader or Brood Brother icon word operative is shooting, fighting, or retaliating in the roll attack dice step. You can retain one of your fails as a normal success instead of discarding it, or retaining normal as a crit. So if you really need a crit, you can buy a crit with this Firefight ploy. And then Insidious uses Firefight ploy after an activation. Before the next activation, you can perform a free dash action with one of your friendly Brood Brother operatives, as long as it's not a valid target of an enemy operative when it starts and ends the actions. The idea is you can like scuttle in between cover. And then we got our actual stat cards. All right, so here's our commander. And actually, we'll go with the basic guy, because everybody's stat line is going to be based upon not you, Primus, and not you. I just want to sing Primus songs every time I say Primus, because Primus sucks, if you know what that means. So anyway, here we go. Brood Brother Trooper, everybody's based on this kind of guardsman stat line. They get 2 APL, 6 inches of movement, 5+ save, and 7 wounds. They got las guns and bayonets, same as the other guardsman types. So 4 attacks, 4+, 2, 3 damage. Bayonets the same with 3 attacks. They get group activation, a lot like the Blooded do. I'm assuming the veteran guardsman kill team is going to have this as well, but I haven't seen the stat cards. As soon as you activate one trooper model, you have to activate another one directly in sequence, then your enemy gets to go. It's the old group activation rule, but it's a core rule for troopers now as opposed to being a special rule. Our commander gets an extra wound. He gets access to a bolt pistol, a drum-fed autogun, which has ceaseless. It's like a las gun with ceaseless. Las pistol, bayonet, chainsword, and claw, which is 1 weapon stat line, but balanced and rending, or power weapon and claw, which is lethal 5+ and balanced. 4/6 or 4/5 damage. And then your coordinate, strategic gambit, select one enemy operative to gain a crossfire token. He can just hand it a crossfire token at the start of the turn. No APL. Doesn't get any bonus AP. The agitator with his cool like shock maul, it's 4 attacks, 4+, 4/4 and shock. When you shock somebody in melee, they have to discard one of their successes after you hit them basically. So if you hit them with a success, one of their successful dice that you get to discard. And then devoted, once per turning point when this operative is fighting or retaliating. In the resolve attack dice step, you can ignore the damage inflicted from one of its normal successes. And then Siren Caster, whenever a friendly Brood Brother operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative within 6 of this operative, you can reroll one of your attack dice. Because he's like jazzing him up to go fight. The gunners, all the different gunner options are on one card. They get access to a grenade launcher with 2 firing modes, a melt-a-gun with devastating foreign piercing, a plasma gun, which with either a hot or a basic firing mode. They're just guardsmen. They're the same as all the other guardsmen stat lines. Their rules are relatively unchanged from the previous edition. The Icon Ward, he's got a large knife. It's just not a bayonet, it's a large knife. I assume it's like a kitchen knife. It's 4 attacks, 4 plus 3/5 damage. He's got his cult icon. When determining control of a marker within 6 of this operative, treat the total APL of friendly Brood Brothers as 1 higher. If at least 1 friendly Brood Brother operative contests that marker. Now, this isn't a change to the APL stats, so any changes are cumulative with this. Broodmind Devotion, once per turn. When a friendly Brood Brother operative is incapacitated within 6 of this, you can use this rule. If you do so, that operative is removed from the kill zone. Sorry, before it's removed from the kill zone, it can perform a free action excluding fight and mind control. And you can change its order to do so. It's then incapacitated. You cannot use this rule in the medic special rule. So you can shoot basically before you die, or you can like push a button or pick up an item or something like that. Knife Fighter, he's got poison kitchen knives. 3 attacks, 3/4, ceaseless, and lethal 5+. He's an assassin. He can charge while he's concealed. And he can counterattack whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating. Whenever you resolve a normal success, you get +1 damage on the enemy operative. And then Brood Brother Sniper, he's got a sniper rifle. He's got the concealed rule, which is pretty common now. The first time you fire the gun, it has silent. Other than that, it's not silent for the rest of the game. And he's got a mobile option where he loses it to hit, but gains a damage, but he doesn't get devastating and heavy. The Veteran, he's got a combat shotgun, close and long range. Long range, it's a lot like the shotguns on the Hernkin. It's 5 plus 2/2, but short range within 6, it goes to 3 plus 4/4 damage. And then he's got balance on his bayonet and claw because he's got an extra arm. So lucky. He's resilient. Normal damage of 3 or more is -1 damage. And Bodyguard, you can use the unquestioning loyalty rule for 0 CP if this is the specified friendly Brood Guard. So if you stand him next to someone who's like the commanders, so the commander, the Patriarch, the Primus, or the Magus, he can use that all the time. He can just take hits for them and he reduces damage as well. Then we get the Medic with a lasgun and bayonet. He's got his Gene Needler. It's just a funny name. 4 attacks, 5/7 damage, lethal 5+, but it's limited, and it's only got 1 attack. And then he's got Medic. During the first time each turning point, another friendly Brood Brothers operative, excluding the Patriarch, would be removed from the kill zone as an incapacitated and within 3 of this operative. You can use this rule provided that operative is within control range of an enemy operative, or not within control range. If you do so, he makes a free dash action, and then immediately can do a syringing medkit. He can regain 2d3 lost wounds. But that model, this guy loses an APL for the rest of the turn, and that activation ends. So, and this is the rule was doing during a friendly operative's activation, the activation ends. You can't use this rule if this operative is incapacitated. So, like, he can dash over and save people from dying with a medic. His Brood Brother Sapper is going to be a demo thrower. He doesn't have a lasgun though, so you can only throw this once. He's got Final Defiance. If this operative is incapacitated, it can perform the free explosives action before it's removed from the kill zone. And he's got all the grenades, and he gets +1 to hit with them. So he's got all the the frag and crack grenades, and he can use them with +1 to hit. So he's hitting them on 3s. The demo charge is 4 attacks, 3 plus 4, 6 damage, range 3, blast 2. It's reposition only because it's heavy, limited 1, piercing 1, and saturate. And then he's also got explosives. The first time this operative performs this action during the battle, place your explosive marker, which is this guy right here, in the control range. The second time you perform this action, inflict 2d6 damage on everybody within 2 of it, unless heavy terrain is wholly intervening. This operative cannot perform this action more than twice per battle, while this within control range of an enemy operative, or during a turn in which it charged, dashed, or fell back. The idea being that you walk up, drop the token, and then blow it. You'd want to do it like end of the turn though, like here's a cluster of like enemy miniatures. I'm going to go drop this in the middle of them, and then I'm going to go first, hopefully next round. I'm going to run away and then detonate the device. So you could die from doing it if you wanted to as well, but hopefully you're going to be able to set it up so that you can do it at the end of a round. And then your Vox Operator, just a guy with a las gun. He's got the support. He can spend an AP to give somebody else an AP. And then also jam, select an enemy operative that's a valid target to this operative or visible to this operative instead of spending an additional AP. So like basically you can spend 2 AP to this instead of 1. Roll 1d6 until the end of the turning point. That enemy operative cannot be activated or perform actions until its last enemy operative. You go last basically. Or until your opponent has activated a number of enemy operatives equal to the action after this action equal to the result of a d6. You roll d6, he has to spend that many activations not activating, or he's the last person to go. So you can push someone's activation way back. If your opponent has like a really powerful model, like for instance the Ogre in the Blooded team, or your own like Patriarch, you could make this guy get jammed up real good. And now we're on to the supporting cast, the Magus, for instance. He's got 9 wounds and 3 APL, so we're into a 3 APL model. Move 6, save 4+. He's a spiritual leader with a force stave, which is psychic and shock, 4 attacks, 4+, 4/6 damage. Bio dagger, 2 attacks, 4+, 3/6 damage, and lethal 4+. And auto pistol, which is sort of 8-inch range las pistol with an additional shot. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Brood Brother operative, ignore the piercing rule. He's using his psychic powers to stop bullets. You can ignore any changes to friendly Brood Brothers operation stats from being injured, and ignore any changes to the APL stat of friendly Brood Brother operatives, period. So no -1 to hit, no minus to your APL, so from like stun grenades, and everyone ignores piercing as long as he's alive and in the kill zone. And then he also gets his psychic overload for 1 AP. Select an enemy operative visible to this operative, they're -1 APL, and then psychic onslaught for 1 AP. Select 1 enemy operative that's a valid target to this operative and inflict 2 damage on it, or 4 damage if it's within 6. Then roll a d6. If it's higher than their AP stat, because you're like force lightning them, inflict an additional 2 damage, or 4 damage if it's within 6. Then keep rolling a d6 in this matter until you roll under their APL, or you do 8 damage, whatever comes first. But you can't do it while you're in control. So you like shoot force lightning at this guy. He's a really cool option. Of course, you can't take him with the Patriarch. But you do get to take his little Psychic Familiars. I'll do them first, actually. They are 3 wound, 5+ save, APL 2, move 6 inches. And you get claws, which are 4+ 2, 3 rending, so you can turn a crit into an additional crit. They are small. This operative cannot use any weapons that aren't on stat card or perform unique actions. While this operative has a conceal order, it's always treated as having a conceal order, taking precedence over things like Vantage Point, and can fall back for 1 APL. And then group activation. Whenever this operative is expended, you must activate another friendly familiar model, so both of them go at the same time. And then elusive. This operative can perform mission actions while it's within control range of the enemy operatives. It can move through enemy operatives' control ranges, and during a charge action, can leave their control range. It must still end their move following all the requirements. So a neat little like protection dog, basically, for the Magus. And then we got the Patriarch. Holy moly. 21 wounds, 4+ save, move 6, 4 APL. He's insane. He's an alpha predator. When this operative is shooting this, when an operative is shooting this operative, ignore the piercing weapon rule. You can activate this operative twice during the turning point as long as it has APL to spend. So you could activate it, then activate it again. Per turning point, it cannot move more than 9 inches total and cannot spend more than 4 APL total. Monster, this operative cannot use any weapons that aren't its data card, or perform unique actions excluding Into the Shadows and Mind Control. If this operative has a conceal order, it cannot use light terrain for cover. While this operative is operating, if this allows this operative to be targeted, it doesn't remove any of its cover saves. And then Into the Shadows, change this operative's order. So you could like charge, fight, dash into cover, and then go back into concealment as like a single activation. And then Psychic, select 1 enemy operative visible and within 2 of this operative. Both players roll a d6 and add their APLs. If your APL is higher than your opponent, you can resolve one of the following actions. Until the end of the activation, that enemy operative is friendly operative, and you can change its order and immediately perform a free action. It cannot perform any action in which it moves other than dash. You can only resolve this action. Second effect once per battle. And then this operative cannot perform this action while it's within control range of the enemy, unless this operative is within control range if it's selected within its control range or it's selected as this action. So you can do somebody's in melee with you, but not look and see somebody else. And it costs 2 APL. Yeah, the Patriarch's crazy. It's so good. And its claws are 5 attacks, 3+, 5/6 relentless and rending. So reroll of 1 type of roll, and you can change an additional hit into a crit if you get any crits. And then finally the Primus, 3 APL, 6-inch move, 4+ save, 9 wounds. Scope Needle Pistol, which is range 8, lethal 5+ and silent, or long range, just silent all the time, 3+, 2, 4 damage. The Bone Sword and Toxin Claw, 3+, 4, 5 damage, lethal 5+ and rending. And he's the Fist of the Patriarch. This operative can perform 2 shoot or fight actions. I'm surprised the Patriarch doesn't have that, but it can activate twice instead and do that. And then Mastermind, once per turning point, you can, after rolling off initiative, if this operative's in the kill zone, you can do one of the following. Add 1 to your dice result, so you goes first. And if you don't have initiative in the previous turning point, reroll your dice entirely. So if you didn't go first last time, go again. And then Conspire for an AP, just gain a CP. And that's it. So a very interesting like guardsman style kill team, but with like a super alpha model if you want, and 2 kind of really neat like supporting commander character models, or the psychic character, which is of course the supporting one, which is going to add a ton, like just ignoring piercing and stuff like that to the faction. We get our faction equipment. So for instance, the Cult Talisman, once per turning point, when an operative is shooting a friendly Brood Brothers operative, excluding the Patriarch, in the roll defense dice step, you can retain a normal success as a crit. It's like a lucky charm. And it's the whole faction once per turning point. So like when you buy these, they apply to everybody. Covert Guises, you can pass as human. After revealing this strategic, this equipment option, roll 1d3. As a strategic gambit in the first turning point, a number of friendly Brood Brothers bodyguard operatives equal to the result that are wholly within your drop zone can immediately perform a free reposition action, but have to end within 3. So it's like, it's D3 extra guys getting to potentially make that starting ploy if you're playing with approved ops. Cult Knives, everybody that doesn't have a knife gets a Cult Knife. 3 attacks, 4+, 3, 4 damage, makes them way more dangerous in combat. And then Lookout, as a strategic gambit, select 1 enemy operative visible to the enemy Brood Brothers operative to gain a crossfire token. It's just handed a crossfire token. Lookout, Cult Knives is great because you're going to be in melee quite a bit probably. Covert Guys is really cool to get guys moving up. And Cult Talisman, it's only once per turning point. This is one of the few ones of these kill teams that I would say maybe take universal equipment instead, because being able to take more heavy barricades for your big guy, your Patriarch to hide behind is really cool. Even the portable barricade might be handy as well. While an operative is in cover with this terrain feature, improve its save by 1 to a maximum of 2+. There's a few interesting items you could take to mess with the Patriarch, and you can carry it around with him. And then you get our token guide. And these use the same tokens as came in the previous box. So you will be able to take this and use it with like the previous box set. So there it is. There's our look at the Kill Team Brood Brothers data card set for these Legacy Brood Brothers miniatures and data cards. And obviously these will be compatible with the Warhammer 40k kits of the same style. So if you've already got access to these miniatures, you can play with this stuff right away. We'll have more Kill Team data card reviews and of course a review of the Hivestorm box up today as well. Big thanks for watching. No Ash.